Hi, this is Mallory.
And I'm Lamb Chop, and we just love uncensored radio. Come play with us.
That's right. Lamb Chop and her big sister Mallory Lewis join us to chat about Mallory's book, Shari Lewis and Lamb Chop, the team that changed children's television, her iconic mother, and a whole lot more. Make sure you tune in tonight.
Hello out there in uncensored radio land. We're here today for a little special event. Not even a little special event, a huge special event. As you can see, I have my lovely co-host Luscious Luke and the one and only Miss Katrina A. Johnson here with us. But we have a special guest, a very special guest. Now, this woman is a writer, a television producer, ventriloquist, puppeteer, but most importantly, she is the keeper of the flame of a legacy that lasts 6 decades. And the big sister to probably the most precocious 6-year-old in the world. But we all love her. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are beyond thrilled and honoured to welcome Mallory Lewis. Hey, Mallory, how are you?
All I can say is that's possibly the best introduction I have ever gotten in my life.
Oh, yay!
And,
All right.
and I love the moniker Luscious Luke. I want
Yes.
to hear more about
I
Luscious
thought
thought it was
Luke.
going for Katrina, and then it comes to me. I was like, "Oh, compliment."
Compliments.
We
But
don't have
sometimes
a lot on here.
Now, Mallory, thank you for joining us. You are whereabouts in the world are you reporting
I'm
from today?
currently in Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
Wow, very, very nice. Well, thank you for
Beautiful.
joining us. We are here today. We've only got a quick show today because Mallory is a busy individual, but we're going to chat through very quickly.
And then we're going to do it again because you guys are adorable, except for Luke.
Oh, he's
Who's
luscious,
luscious?
yeah.
Who's luscious?
See, she knows the
And
score.
Katrina and I are both wearing our plaids, although yours is
What's
a little
going
more
on?
elegant. I'm wearing my husband's shirt. So
That's
I like
amazing. I got inspired to reach out to Luke. Luke's our I guess guest liaison is his
Yeah.
official
I've
title.
been bugging Mallory for a while, haven't I, Mallory?
yeah, we've been trying to do this for a long time.
Because
Yeah.
I got inspired after finding Mallory's book that she did with that Segeloff about her mum, Shari Lewis. The book is entitled Shari Lewis and Lamb Chop, the team that changed children's television. And they well and truly did. Mallory, I think we could talk to you for hours, but we're just going to smash through some questions. The main thing that I picked up, and I think as, a person of a certain generation that grew up watching Shari, as many generations did, is just how multifaceted and how multi-talented and how committed to so many things she was. Is that a big part of
Oh yeah,
the book and doing the book?
it's a big part of the book, but it's a big part of Mom's philosophy. I often get asked, what would you say to somebody who wanted to be a puppeteer or wanted to be into show business or wanted to be a singer? And my response is always get a degree, because it is the only reason that Mom survived as many decades
Did I ever lie to you about anything that was important?
as she did, is because she was a writer, she was a producer, she was a singer, she was a dancer, she was a ventriloquist, you can't have only one thing that you do. I myself have written 20 books and have an Emmy for writing television. I've produced
Yeah, talk all about that.
I've produced TV. Performing with Lamb Chop is not really where I make my money. If it weren't for my husband's firefighter pension, we'd be in trouble. It's very hard to make money in show business. But now that work can be done remotely, I would say to people, get an accounting skill or bookkeeping skill, because you can
Definitely.
do that 3 hours a night at home and make a lot of money, doing sort of side work. And that'll support your show business habit. Because really, being in show business, as you guys know, it doesn't, unless you're a Kardashian, it doesn't actually pay the bills.
Yep.
It is at best, right? It is at best a break even. And I have Lamb Chop, who is an icon, and it is still at best a break even proposal. So, particularly for women, I mean, Luscious Luke obviously is just so good looking that he doesn't have to do anything. But Katrina, you and I
Right.
both
For the
know,
rest of us, yeah.
you and I both know that this stuff don't come cheap. You know,
Absolutely.
so it doesn't actually
Oh.
come out of my head red. So
Do you think, Mallory, you got that businesswoman approach, so that was drummed into you from mum? Because
and I watched her be turned. You know, at first she was the children's television darling, and then cartoons happened.
Yeah.
And the business model on cartoons is you make it once, you don't have to pay royalties, and you can sell it to many different countries because you could just dub in different voices. That doesn't work as well with puppets because, well, I mean, the reason Lamb Chop is so exceptional is because it actually looks like she is talking. And it certainly doesn't work as well with live humans because it's like those weird movies that are dubbed. They don't look good. So then the TV world said to mom, nah, we're done with you. Go away. And she was like, oh, hell no. And so she started becoming an adult performer, not that kind of adult performer.
Exactly.
But she did some stuff with, we have a great clip. We have a documentary on mom coming out called Shari and Lamb Chop. Not the most original title, but it's a great documentary. And Lamb Chop thinks it should be Lamb Chop and Shari. But there's a clip where she was at the Playboy Mansion at some party with Lamb Chop, and she was in a little Playboy bunny costume, and Lamb Chop was, and she was hot. And she conducted symphonies, and she wrote 60 books, and she was her own writer and her own producer because Alexa off because that's the smell of chicken cordon bleu possibly being ready soon, but it could if she, as an entertainer, you can't wait for the right role to come to you. You have to create the role.
She definitely. There's a quote in the book that Shari said you said of Shari, I don't identify with rejection. So she willed herself into constant work and diversifying, and that's something really admirable in in today's world.
The joke in our family is the women in our family don't hear the letter N, which means that no just sounds like oh. And eventually people give up. So
they just let you do it because they know it's not going to stop.
It's not going to stop. I have my husband was the fire chief for the city of Los Angeles, and he likes to joke that 34 years of running into burning buildings barely prepared him for being married to me.
That's amazing. That is so good.
Yes, ladies, I did get a firefighter.
Good on you. Snaps for Mallory, everyone. Snaps for Mallory.
Cute tush.
So you were, you get asked this question a lot, I know, but you had at that time, she would have been your big sister growing up, but you've grown to take the moniker, and working and living in that environment like you did, as the house was the office and all that kind of stuff. You must have had some really interesting run-ins. There is a very funny one about Margaret Hamilton in the book.
So
Can you share some of that before us?
Is the Wicked Witch of the West. I was 5 years old, and I came home from school one day, as I often did, pretty much every day. And I walk in, and there's mom sitting with Margaret Hamilton in the living room. Well, I took one look at Margaret Hamilton, and I screamed, and I went running up the stairs, and my mom was like horrified, obviously. And she's like, Margaret, I'm so sorry. And supposedly Margaret Hamilton just shook her head like this, put her head in her hands and said, it happens to me all the time. So,
she took no offense. She knew what she was.
And then there was the time that I came home and Tiny Tim was playing Tiptoe Through the Tulips in our living room. which
Wow.
I didn't realize at the time how significant that was, but I do remember it. And there was one time when John Cleese, one of my favorites, came over, and I was sitting with my mom in the living room, and my dad went to get the doorbell, and it was right after John Cleese had done the Bureau of Funny Walks thing. That's
Yeah.
a skit.
Yeah.
And my dad answers the door, welcomes him, and says, "John, walk this way," and then proceeded to do the spastic funny walk. And my mom and I just, because I think I was a teenager by then, my mom and I
Oh
were
no, cringe.
just so horrified. But
How did John take it? Was he good with it?
you know what? I was so deep in my own teenage humiliation and angst. I'm sure that, like Margaret Hamilton, John was pretty used to this kind of stupid stuff happening.
Well, I was going to say for you though, Mallory, and it's kind of the polar opposite because Katrina was a child actor. She did a show on Nickelodeon, but you were on the other end of the spectrum where Mum's famous. Was it like, obviously you have all cool stories, like, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West, having tea at the table and stuff, but it was tough as well? I know you touched on that.
Really? I mean, you know what? I don't think anyone has a childhood that is 100% perfect. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not possible. Either you have a big brother that was mean to you, or someone bullied you at school, or, you know, Uncle Tony was kind of creepy. I mean, whatever the experience is, nobody has a perfect childhood. I loved being with my mom, and I loved lamb chop. People are like, "Oh, were you jealous of lamb chop?" I'm like, no, sorry. You know, like, she's a sock. I mean, she's my sock. I love her, but you know, but come on.
Did you feel though with Lammy too, like you did say, like with your mother's passing, and I know we'll probably talk about that very quickly. Did you feel like keeping Lammy around was sort of keeping Mum around a little bit too?
Oh, 100%. I promised my mom, you know, she got sick and died 6 weeks later. So it happened very, very quickly. And I remember telling her, I know you're not done. And she was unconscious at the time. But I mean, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything except for what I can see, touch, eat, and drink and ride in terms of horses. But I was holding my mom's hand.
I thought you meant firemen.
Yeah, and firemen. Just one. Multiple horses, but one fireman. But I was holding my mom's hand, and my ex-husband and the nurse were on the other side of the room, and Mom was unconscious. And I remember saying, I will continue for you. I have a baby inside of me. I was pregnant at the time. You can. And there was a rush of transfer of some sort of connection that I cannot explain, since I don't believe in anything that I'm actually telling you, except it did happen. And my ex-husband and the nurse both sensed it. And there was like this gasp. I mean, I find it very weird because, again, I don't believe in this stuff, but I weirdly experienced it. So there was no doubt I was pregnant, and I loved being Lamb Chop's sibling, and I loved traveling with my mom. And so I don't know how to parent any other way. You know, if you grew up on a farm, you parent, we tend to repeat our parents' good things and bad things. And because it's an endless cycle of despair. but so my son got some wonderful experiences. I mean, he got to fly an F-18 flight simulator at Miramar Base.
Wow.
He's been in parades. He's on the flip side. He, at the age of 8, was pressed into service, traveling with mommy and working her sound equipment and selling her merch. He could handle, like, you know, if you're selling merch at a table, you put the 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s. He was like a shill at the age. But all in all, you know, it was an unusual childhood. But I never felt like I had a famous mom, because I went to school with Gene Hackman's kid. I went to school with Roger Moore's kid. So in the reference of my childhood, mom was not particularly famous, or at least not unusually so.
Yes, we need more time with you, definitely, for
Yeah.
more
Kat,
stories.
Kat, you've got some question. You got a question for Shari?
For
Well,
Shari.
Not for Shari.
I
Well,
don't-
hello.
I wasn't even
Mallory?
gonna interrupt you, Steve, because first of all, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
It's not like you called me Adolf.
About Shari, even. Oh my god.
And second of all, what's funny is I've got a very strong TikTok presence and Instagram presence, and people used to say, "I can tell you're Shari's daughter," and now, then it was like, "Are you Shari's younger sister?" And now I'm getting, "Is that Shari?" And I'm like, because mom died when she was 64 and I'm 62.
Yeah.
So, and then my other favorite is, "Wow, you look like your mom." I'm like, "Don't you look like your same-sex parent?" It's kind of the way genetics work, especially
Right.
with the hair dye, and we share a plastic surgeon. So,
We love it.
well, I wanted to ask you. You said after going to school with all those famous celebrity kids that you didn't feel like your mom was like crazy famous, but when did you realize, how old were you in your life that you realized this massive legacy that your mom
was
created?
the Lamb Chops play along era where I was mom's head
Right.
writer and producer, because mom had been fighting my entire childhood, fighting to stay relevant. And I mean tooth and nail fighting to stay relevant. And then play along hit, and we couldn't go to the mall. We couldn't go anywhere without people coming up. But it was never a problem. It's like nobody ever came up and tried to be unpleasant. So it was lovely. People come up and say, "I loved you. I love you. My kids love you.
Right.
My mother loves you." It's like 99.9% of the comments on my TikTok and Instagram are incredibly sweet. And the other 0.01% are Republicans. So
So we have lots more. We have a lot of more questions for you, Mallory. We're gonna have to get you back because I've just gotten a message that I think is for you.
oh,
It says, "Enough already. Bring on the lamb."
I was hoping it was a Nigerian prince with $10 million
Right.
they wanted to give me.
That'd work too.
Oh. Thank you, mysterious person who said, "Enough already, drink on the land." Hello, luscious Luke. I love you.
Hello,
Oh.
Lenny. I might love you a little bit more. Lenny, do I cut the mustard as much as Mr. Sheffield did on the nanny?
Oh, he was a dog compared to you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Now I feel like we should.
I'm not a sheepdog, just one of the woofy kinds.
Yeah.
I feel like we
Plain
should
old.
ask you. We
Hello?
should ask you, Miss Chop.
Yeah.
Ms. Chop, Lamb Chop, however we may refer to you. I have a burning question because
No,
we've
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not single, and I'm only.
that's so upsetting. But
Darn it.
how many times, Lammy, have you or do you think you've heard the song that doesn't end?
This is the song that doesn't end. Come on, Luke. Yes, it goes on and on.
My friend.
Some people started singing, and I know what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because of it.
Yeah, we get it. Mallory might have heard that song a few times, right?
What's funny is the debate, because it is the song that doesn't end.
End.
But people, the Mandela effect, people think it's never ends. And I get people when I perform it on TikTok, that is not how the song goes. I'm like, I would know, really. And then I even posted the video from Lamb Chop's Play Along to prove it. And somebody said I had dumped it in. And I'm like,
The song that doesn't.
How do I turn you off?
You AI'd it in.
so now I'm just like, okay, I love that you remember the song. I don't care if you're singing it wrong.
I love that you remember the song. I don't care if you sing it wrong.
Yep, we're gonna have to do a TikTok on that.
There you go, TikTok. Now I know that Katrina has a question for Lamb Chop.
Yes, ma'am.
I really want to know, where do you get your eyelashes done?
Well, I wish I could tell you and put a little orange shopping cart so that I could sell these lashes, but they're actually mink.
Wow.
Fancy.
He's not vegan. But if it makes everybody feel better, I literally have a 12 by 12 piece of mink that I inherited from my dead mother 26 years ago. And the mink died probably a decade before that. So
Wow.
please, vegans, don't come after me.
No,
Right.
and don't come after Lamb
That's
Chop.
amazing.
Now I know
Lemmy,
that
I
Lamb.
wanna, sorry,
go.
I just
No.
really want to ask quickly. Lemmy, did you really get tanked when you were doing the Las Vegas run?
Wait, say that again. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I had a martini. As a matter of fact, that is why we can't stay on, even though if I had known how fantastic you guys are, I would have told Mallory, stop being such an alcoholic. It's fine. We can do this.
That's fine. We know you
We
are
can
both
appreciate
very
that.
busy women.
No,
You are
really,
both
what
very
it
busy.
is, I'm not allowed to have the cocktail until 6 o'clock, so, I live for it.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's always 6 o'clock somewhere, isn't it, Lamb Chop? Always 6 o'clock somewhere.
So what time
Now-
is it in Australia right now?
We are at
10:23
AM.
Yeah.
a day in the future. A day in the future.
Oh, can you tell me who Kamala Harris picks as her vice president then? 'Cause
Oh,
she's
you'll be
telling us
you'll be surprised.
tomorrow.
Now, just before we go, Lamb Chop, you have, as Mallory said, there's a movie coming out about you, a documentary.
Yes, I'm gonna be a movie star. We are killing it at the film festivals, and it is really good. But it's called Shari and Lamb Chop, and it should be called Lamb Chop and Shari.
Oh, I'm batting for you,
Obviously.
Lamb Chop.
She so modestly
Absolutely.
says.
And we're going to be seeing that really soon, right?
Yes.
Fingers crossed. So
Fingers
we'll hopefully you guys can come back and
Legs
visit us
crossed as
again.
well.
Cross everything you can, I say.
Cross everything.
Presenting my favorite supporting act, Miss. What are you shaking?
I am not your supporting act.
We're going to have to say hello, goodbye very quickly. Thank you so much for joining us. I know.
Hi, hello.
Oh,
Hi, that's
Lemmy, I'll send you my number, okay?
Perfect. Oh my goodness. Now, look, I'm going to email you when this is done, and we'll set up. Now that I realize that you guys are in Australia, I understand the timing, and we'll set up another thing because you three are so much fun.
Oh, thank
All
you,
right.
We love you
Mallory.
so
Plus,
much.
I want Luke to be my boyfriend.
Oh, dear.
There's a lot of logistical issues there, Lemmy, but we'll sort it out, girl.
We can make it
I'm willing to
Long
work
as
with you.
it can happen.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I used to watch you on my black and white
I'm
TV.
only 6.
We will see Mallory and Lamb Chop again very soon, hopefully.
Pleasure meeting all three of you guys, and I love you, Australia.
Woo!
We love you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Lemmy.
Make sure you tune in next week for part 2 with Mallory and Lamb Chop, where everything is put on the table.
And Coulter is a total bitch. There's a